What happens when the young heroes of the Champions come face to face with a tragedy that hits far too close to home for one of their members? Well, let's hop into Champions issue number 24 and find out for ourselves, shall we? Alrighty then, so as we join the comic, our team is in Brownsville. They raised a bunch of money to help build some much needed infrastructure for the area, and to the surprise of everyone involved, they're actually helping build it. It's in between semesters right now, which means Kamala Khan Ms.Marvel is away. Miles, luckily enough, his parents know he's a superhero, and as such he was able to play hooky today to help out with the event. This comic is a very Miles Morales-centric story, and unfortunately for him, it's not gonna be much of a happy story because he gets an alert on his phone about a school shooting taking place at his own school. By the time he gets there, he hears the horrible news that 15 people are dead, both teachers and students, and to make matters worse, one of his friends, Fabio, was also injured in the attack. We soon discover that the gunman turned his weapon on himself after the spree. Why did he do it? These really aren't important questions. What is important is dealing with the emotional fallout of what happened. With Miles not at school, his friend Gank and others begin to worry that he too is among the dead. Thankfully, he's not. But it's made abundantly clear what happened has rocked Miles to his very core. Being a superhero, he thinks to himself that had he been there, maybe he could have stopped all of this from happening, maybe he could have saved people. Gang tells him to not go down that rabbit hole, to do so will only drive you crazy, and even a superhero can't be everywhere at once. The reverberations of this tragedy are also felt on the Champions team. Amadeus Cho, being a science-minded individual, tries to quote a bunch of stats and solve the issue like it was some kind of math problem. Riri has quite the cynical reaction, which makes a lot of sense when you remember that Ironheart's own father and best friend were killed by gun violence, and it seems that even after she became a superhero, the threat of gun violence in America hasn't gotten any better. A grief counselor is called into the school to help the survivors work through their issues. Miles has a ton of guilt that he wants to let loose with, but at the same time he's afraid of revealing his identity as Spider-Man. Once again, the psychiatrist says probably the last thing Miles wanted to hear: don't beat yourself up, it's not like you're a superhero or anything. Ow, ow, ow. It's after this Miles becomes a bit of a recluse for a couple weeks, shirking his responsibilities and not showing up to Champions meetings that Kamala Khan is trying to put together. Also, just to really underline the reverberations that the school shooting is having, Kamala's own school in Jersey City is having a lockdown trial. Eventually, Ms.Marvel is able to track Spider-Man down and they have themselves a little heart-to-heart. They say at the end of the day, they're pretty similar as heroes. They both feel deeply for everyone. They wear their hearts on their sleeves for the world to see, and even though that makes them endearing, it also means they get hurt quite easily. Kamala lays down a harsh but inescapable truth, the one that Miles has been running from all issue, and that is that even if you are a superhero, even if you do have amazing abilities, you can't be everywhere at once and you can't save everyone. And that once you come to terms with this crushing fact, you can either give in to despair or give in to hope that the next time will be better and that next time you can save someone. As the comic winds down, Miles and the rest of the Champions in civilian clothes decide to attend a rally, more resolute than ever in their mission as heroes and as the Champions. So that was Champions issue number 24, everybody, and if you couldn't tell, it dealt with a fair amount of very heavy, very socially relevant subject matter. This issue actually reminded me a lot of some old Milestone stories from back in the day, and especially of the Jimmy episode of Static Shock, for those of you out there who remember it. I applaud Jim Zub for tackling such depressing subject matter, but doing so in his same light and breezy style, while also using a tragedy that is sadly far too common for today's young people to help better illustrate just how different the members of the Champions are and how differently they all process tragedy. The comic also doesn't claim to have an answer for all of the very complicated gun woes facing the world right now. Instead, it opts to really show a POV for young people and how they process such complicated issues. Our fictional heroes have amazing superpowers, but they're still at the end of the day just normal kids, and because of that, they face all the same fear and uncertainty that real-world kids reading this book would. I think more than anything too, this special one-shot story does a good job of really showing that the Champions is the modern-day successor to classic Teen Titans, how they can handle more serious subject matter, but still do so in a bright, colorful way without having to make the whole thing feel like a PSA or a very special episode of. Overall, I think I'd feel comfortable giving this one an 8 out of 10. Very strong stuff.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cave Joel again. Thanks so much for watching to the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, why not check out some of these other video projects I've been working on. Then you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at Cave Joel, so you're always up to speed on what I'm doing next. And hey, if you're in the market for some comic books, might I recommend using my book depository link down in the description. Not only will you save an absolute bundle by not having to pay anything for shipping and handling, but anything you buy via my link goes to support me in the channel, so that would be much appreciated. So until next time everyone, this has been Cave Joel. I will be back again next time with more comic content that smacks of greatness. Bye-bye, everyone.